Now, a question I am often asked is, what is my favourite vegetable? And I'll be honest with you, through the seasons it usually changes depending on what I'm actually harvesting. However, something I always come back to is my sweet corn, and sweet corn is just amazing. Now, if you're going to pick your sweet corn, you need to be picking it as soon as you're going to be using it, because the longer it's off the plant, the more the sugars, which are that sweetness that we really associate with sweet corn, start to turn to starch, and actually it does affect the flavour. Now, my sweet corn has done really well this year. Last year wasn't so good, the year before was brilliant, and really it's because these plants are really hungry plants. And I know that last year I just planted them in an area which I hadn't treated the soil, and it really told on my sweet corn plants themselves. I actually have some sweet corn growing in the community allotment plot as well, and again, it's not the best compost. They are no dig beds, but actually I've gone for the cheapest peat-free compost I could find, and again, it's really telling. So this bed here is also a no dig bed, but I've got some really good peat-free compost in here, and it's really helped with the height and the size and just how many cobs I've actually got forming on these plants. Now, sweet corn needs to be planted in a grid, and the reason for that is they are air pollinators, and you can actually see and hear them rustling around a little bit at the moment. And that's because right at the top of the plants you have the male tassels, and then lower down where you actually have the cobs forming, you have the silks at the end, and each of those silks actually represents a little kernel which needs to be pollinated. So shaking your plants is actually a really good idea if you haven't had any wind. If you've had wind and you've planted in a grid, there shouldn't be an issue. Now, something else we need to think about is, are our sweet corn cobs actually ready to harvest? And the best way to tell that is by looking at the silks themselves. If they're still really pale, then they are not ready. They need to stay on the plant. They need watering, they need feeding to keep them growing and hopefully getting some really good harvest from them. But these ones I have in front of me, the silks have turned this sort of brownish colour, and as soon as they start turning really dark, sort of dry brown, it's really telling us that those cobs are just about ready to be picked. Now, what you can do is just have a little sneaky look and just peel back some of the leaves. If they're still not ready, you can actually just fold them back over and leave them on the plant. Maybe about another week, test them again, have a look and see how they're doing. If they're looking really good, and this one actually is looking really nice, all you need to do is just pull the cob down, hold on to the main stalk so you don't break that, twist it, and there we have it. And if I just peel these back, what you can see is some absolutely gorgeous kernels. Now, don't worry if they haven't actually germinated or actually pollinated rather right to the end, because they don't always do that. But what I can see on here is I've got a really good pollination. Now again, if you peel back your leaves and you've got sort of sporadic pollination on these, you've got some kernels which have actually really formed well and some haven't, again, that's down to pollination. So making sure that you are planting in a grid, giving them a shake when you've got those male tassels to hit those silks, and you should actually get some really lovely sweet corn. And in fact, once you've just picked up the plants, you can even eat it raw, because it's so sweet. Lovely stuff.